Welcome to The Money Hour with host Tina Mitchell and co-host Keelan Harvey. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome to the Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 6th show. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And co-host Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts, bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events in our local economy and how it can affect your money. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we are both here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And our lineup for today's show is Sandi Tampa with Windermere Real Estate East. What's happening into the real estate market today? Also in studio, Tony Sablan with New York Life Wealth Management, choosing your retirement plan. And last guest in studio, Britt Wibner with Britt Wibner Real Estate Group, winning in a shifting market. Great information, great guest in show today. As always, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or go online to themoneyhour.com. And to start out today's show, just as we do each week, with a little money chat.
Money.
The condo shortage improving in the Seattle market is what I wanted to bring in today. Since the housing bust, the condo inventory has been extremely low. Developers who spent the past several years building just about everything except for condos are now getting back into the condo market for the first time since the housing crash. Now, the condo shortage, it got so bad that as recent as late last year, only 350 condos were on the market in all of King County. It's just crazy numbers, and down from the long-running average of more than 2,000. So this drove up condo prices faster than even single-family homes went up. So the reason for the condo shortage, a state law that makes it fairly easy for condo buyers to sue developers for potential construction defects, frightened developers into not wanting to get into building condo projects. Now, the risk of getting tied up in court and a big settlement pay up was just too high, or they'd have to pay really high insurance costs to defend against this risk. Now, despite some efforts in Olympia this year, the state law has not changed, but there is something that has changed. For years, housing developers could just build apartments instead of the condos because the rental market was so hot, but it wasn't necessary to take the risk of condos when the rental profits were so high. But as tens of thousands of new apartments came into the Seattle market, rents have stopped rising over the past year. Now, in some cases, builders sitting on plans and approved condo projects suddenly can't get construction funding from the banks because of the cooling in the rental market. So there's a few options here: to wait to see if the rents surge back up again, sell the development site, or switch to condos. Condos are the best and most attractive housing option left for the moment and for the developers. So in the past years in King County, apartment rents were up 2.5%. Single family houses prices are up 2.9%, and condo prices up 11.3%. So in the Seattle and Bellevue, only about 2,000 condos have opened so far this decade, and about 6,000 are on the pipeline for completion in the next few years, according to Perlis Pacific, a marketing and sales firm that tracks condos in the region. Now, more than 24 projects totaling 5,000 units are in the works in Seattle alone, many announced just in the past few months. In some cases, the condo projects are brand new proposals. In other cases, builders have switched plans to turn what they thought would be in apartments into actual condos. Now, there's even talk now that some existing open apartment buildings that might convert into units to condos, or reversal from from the post-bust days when condos that couldn't sell were converted to apartments. So I'll keep bringing into studio what's happening in the condo market and how that's going to help our Seattle real estate market. Coming up next on the Money Hour, what's happening in today's real estate market? Sandi Tampa with Windermere Real Estate East right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Are you a tech professional who wants to get your voice heard in meetings and events? Are you tired of being invisible or of people talking over you? Do you believe you have the talent to make more impact at work but don't know how or where to begin? Are you living on autopilot not knowing where your time has gone? Or do you want to make the best use of your time on this planet? To have a powerful voice in this world, you need to build up your communication skills and courage step by step. To live your life in a powerful way, you need to have crystal clear goals and work through problems along the way until you achieve those goals. Dee Gupta of Dee Coaching is an expert at unleashing your personal power and will coach you through a simple and easy-to-follow process that will build up your skills and courage. Dee is passionate about firing people up to follow their dreams by walking them through her effective proprietary process of goal setting and follow-through.
This is Dee from Dee Coaching. To learn more about me, visit my website at speakpowerfullycoaching.com and follow the links to connect with me on social media.
Are you a woman in business or a brand that wants to help them figure out how to take their business to the next level? Do you have questions about how to effectively and safely use social media to build your brand and business? Are you ready to live your purpose out loud every single day, but not sure how to make it happen? Are you looking to start a thriving business, uncover new ideal clients, or find your dream job? Have you been trying to put your brand story together, but keep getting stuck? Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting is a well-respected expert who speaks, writes, and consults on the topics of personal brand, digital marketing strategies, and living a fired-up life. Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting helps entrepreneurs build businesses and lives they love by attracting ideal clients with a solid brand message and simple digital marketing strategies. Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting is passionate about inspiring entrepreneurs to define their personal brand to build a business and life they love. Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting is excited to help you get fired up and on your way to building a successful business and life.
This is Deborah Trapin of D11 Consulting. To learn more about my firm, connect with me on social media, or sign up for a free consultation, please visit my website, d11consulting.com. Be sure to sign up to Fire Up on my email list, and you will receive a free core values exercise to get you started defining your personal brand and building a life you love. If you prefer email, send me a note at deborah@d11consulting.com. Again, to learn more about my services, connect with me on social, or sign up to Fire Up, visit d11consulting.com. I look forward to connecting with you soon.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell.
And co-host Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 6th show. It's a great day to talk money, and that's what the show is all about, how to make money, save money, and have a better quality of life for you and your family. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, Sandi Tampa with Windermere Real Estate East, and we're talking about what's happening in the real estate market today. Sandi, thank you so much for joining us back in studio. It's been a little while since you've been here.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and excited to hear what's happening in the market. So a little bit about Sandi. Sandi is a skilled veteran with 12 years in residential real estate experience. She is based out of Bellevue and primarily focuses on the east side. Sandi is a highly accredited managing broker. Her credentials include accredited buyer's representative, certified residential specialist, and master certified negotiation expert. What does this mean to you? It means that she's dedicated to being the best that she can to serve you and your referrals with the highest level of professionalism and skill possible. Sandi specializes in applying her local expertise and market knowledge to her business, experienced negotiation, and cutting-edge marketing strategies combined with uncompromising integrity is the trademark at Sandi's service. Sandi has worked in every facet of the industry representing sellers, buyers, and investors.
Sandi, you got some initials next to your name. That's a good thing. So,
Just a couple.
Just a couple. So,
Alphabet soup.
Yeah. No. Well, so tell us, what the heck's going on in the market?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's definitely a shift happening. In fact, I'm going to be talking today off August stats. September stats got to me right as I was actually walking into studio.
Go figure how that happens.
And I was tempted to dive in, but I was like, I need to digest
August is totally fine.
Yeah, thanks. So we have had a growth in inventory for the last 6 months. And the last 4 months, we've had a decrease in number of pending sales. The decrease in pending sales that time of year is normal. But the increase in inventory is something we haven't seen in many years. In fact, our inventory is at a level that we haven't seen since 2014. That said, we're still by the numbers. So the way we gauge whether we're in a buyer's market or seller's market is something called months of inventory, which is how we take our pulse of the market. And we are, for August, we are at 2.2 months of inventory. Anything less than 3 months of inventory is still a seller's market. However, this time last year, so August 2017, we were at 0.9 months of inventory, which is crazy, crazy low. But that's a 244% increase. So it's kind of the equivalent maybe of going 150 miles an hour down to 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. So go ahead,
Well,
Sandi.
I was going to say, but if you're out there in the trenches, it definitely, there's a palpable change in what's happening.
Yeah. So it's hard to kind of come to the perspective or have a perspective on what this means because of just what you said, such a drastic from 0.9 or, to 2.2 months. But the reality of being the 3 months is kind of that when you're in a buyer's market. So we're still in a seller's market. It's just adjusting to this crazy dramatic, and it really did seem literally like overnight.
Yeah, yes, and that's how it happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely by the numbers, and again, I'm anxious to see what September says, but by the numbers, we're in a seller's market. But we're seeing longer days on market. We're seeing price drops, which we hadn't seen in a while. And
I had a $10,000 seller credit come across my desk on a contract, and I was like, "Oh my golly, $10,000 seller credit." That was not after. And they still had the inspection to go. That was before the inspection, So
yeah, and even an inspection contingency, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
what is that?
Yeah, exactly. So I think right now probably a better way to describe it is we're acting more in a balanced market. Some things aren't. Some things are going to behave a little bit like that have been on the market a little bit and maybe priced ahead of the market when off the trajectory of increasing prices. So they're having to come down in price. But you'll still see things that come on the market, the cream puffs that are priced well in great condition. Those can still sell fast.
So should we be panicking? Is like the bubble bursting? I mean, is it here or what's happening?
Right. That's a great question. And, the fear of what happened in the 2007 to 2010, that plummet of pricing and that I truly don't think so. My crystal ball isn't that great, but the lead up to the 2007 peak in pricing had everything to do with predatory lending. People were buying homes that shouldn't have been. And so right now our fundamentals are still there. Pricing and the real estate market's all about supply and demand. And, Tina, you touched on that supply. We can't have new community. So speaking on the east side, that's where I work. We're landlocked. You can't build new communities, and then even condos being scarce. And our demand, we have job growth, we have population growth. Those millennials are bigger than the baby boomers, and we also have income growth. So the supply and the demand and the fundamentals are still there.
Yeah. And there's three things that you need you need sellers, you need buyers, and you need money. And we've had buyers. We've had no issues with buyers. We've had no issues with money, and we don't still. And the issue that we had with sellers is now coming in. So it really is getting to us a place that we have everything that we need to be a strong market. So, Sandi, what are you telling your sellers to do right now that are thinking of possibly selling?
Yeah, so it's home preparation is more important than ever.
Mm-hmm.
I always was a believer in home preparation, but now you've really got to go the extra mile. So if you were thinking about painting before maybe staging could just cover that sin, you've got to do everything you possibly can and just know you've got to put that best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to price ahead of the market. And, the supply and the demand is putting that downward pressure on pricing. So you need a price on the lower side than you might have in the April or March timeframe.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out because we do have two real estate experts here. We're going to talk with Britt in our last segment here, but get creative as sellers and things that are differently. And we actually have an equity protection program that a seller can attach to their home so that they're protecting the new buyer's down payment from the market dropping. So I just want to, we were not going to talk about it today. I just wanted to throw that out there. But so it's doing everything that you need to make sure that you have the best looking home. You've got the best options so that you can compete with the other ones out there. Correct?
Exactly. You've got to be the best looking one at the most attractive price. Yeah.
So we pumped the brakes, Sandy. So we went from 150 to 50 or 70 miles an hour, and then you have the seasons.
That hurts.
It hurts. It does hurt.
It's jarring.
It's jarring, right? And but then we have the seasons too, and it's kind of historically the slow season. We're kind of in there in that time. So, what do you recommend for your sellers? Like, when should they list?
That's a great question. People always want to know, when's the best time to sell? My favorite time to sell, and I'm looking over at Britt. I don't know what she would say, but I think I'm a little counterculture in what I say, but it's actually January.
Yeah.
And here's why: is come January 1st, buyers are ready to buy, sellers are ready to sell. Mm-hmm. A buyer can just get a pre-approval, jump in the car, and start looking for houses. A seller, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get that house on the market.
Yeah.
So January poses a great opportunity of a big set of buyers without a lot of competition. So that's always, if you can pick, we sell real estate year round here, and you can't let the tail wag the dog. You got to do what's right for you.
Makes sense. And so what type of advice are you giving your buyers right now, Sandy? Because I think that's the biggest thing that's been great for all of us in the industry and behind the scenes of just it being a little bit easier conversations that we're having with buyers. And so how's it going with you?
Yeah, so circling back to buyers and what's happening in the market, I think there's actually some pent-up demand because I think buyers are uncertain right now because of what's happening. And when buyers have uncertainty, they don't make buying decisions.
Yep.
And so I think they're tapping the brakes just to see what's going to happen. And price reductions are making them a little timid. What I would say is have the courage. So buy for the right reasons. Buy if this is where you want to live. This is where you're going to create your memories, and you can be there for 5 years, and you can afford the payment. I would say have the courage, take advantage, be in your home, and make it great.
And we're seeing what's happening with interest rates. I mean, so that most likely is going to continue to be a factor as well, which drops that buying potential. So, take advantage of the rates before they continue increasing.
Absolutely. Interest rates, as you know, impact affordability more so than purchase price.
Yes, 100%. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's another reason I'm trying to nudge any buyer I can get who will listen to me.
And if you look at the numbers, I mean, the cost of waiting versus purchasing now, which is all around the interest rates and the increase, and the numbers don't lie. It's really easy to see how that affects your buying potential with just a small increase in interest rates. So it's really just taking the time to go through those numbers and review them.
Yep. You live in the payment, not the price.
I love that. You live in the payment, not the price.
Said.
I like that. I have to borrow that, Sandy.
Write that
I'm
one.
sure I borrowed it from someone.
We all borrow everything, right? Yeah. So what about, I'm going to flip that question to the buyer side. When's the right time? When's the right season? I agree with you, especially with our people. I'm urging people as well. If you can buy now, get on it. I mean, housing prices are not dropping crazy. Interest rates are going up. Your buying power is going down. Hop on it if you can. But kind of what's your advice as far as when you should buy?
Totally agree. If you would have asked me, if you would have asked what the equivalent answer to the January for sellers, if you would have asked me a few months ago, I would say August, because August tends to We tend to have this little bit of a slowdown with buyer activity, but we have a lot of inventory. I see Brett nodding her head. So you tend to have a lot of inventory with little buyer activity. But right now, it's a fantastic time to buy.
Yeah. And so let's go back to the seller side, since you wear both hats in representing buyers and sellers. Pre-inspections. I know, having sellers do pre-inspections is a great thing, right?
Yep. And I still think, no matter the market, that's still a great step in the process to go through, because you don't want to, if there's a problem with your home, you need to know about it now.
Yes.
And before you go on the market, so you can strategize on how to handle it when you're in control of the process. If it happens during an inspection contingency while the buyer has control of the process, it's going to just take longer and probably ultimately cost you more money.
And then so when the buyer's coming in, are you still encouraging your buyers they're going to get their own inspection or going off that pre-inspection?
Well, it depends on who. So if I'm representing a buyer on a
if
seller,
you're representing the buyer,
it depends on the inspection report and
Okay.
how we're feeling about it, and we probably are going to use the inspection report, the seller's inspection report, if we feel like it was done by a professional and makes sense in their photos and it looks thorough and it was recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to kind of flip back to the selling side a little bit. The whole reason we did that down payment protection plan was really just to give people that little urge and cushion that, and the confidence to go out and buy a home, that at least 20% or $200,000 is covered. And, maybe that's what they need when they're scared of buying in the peak of the market.
Love it. Yeah.
So what do you think are today's risks for sellers?
For sellers, so the risk is that your house won't sell. You're going to have longer market time. So, you need to be prepared for longer market time. Your house isn't going to sell in a hot second. You've got to really pay attention to see what's happening around you with competition. And actually, what you're seeing right now is a lot of price drops. And I sometimes think that if nobody's buying around you, dropping the price isn't going to, if there's no buyer activity, making that price drop isn't probably going to generate activity.
Yeah.
So just critically think and be prepared for market time.
Makes sense. And regardless of the market, we talk about this on, all the show, whether it's a seller's market, a buyer's market, it doesn't matter. Price is really what's going to make or break that success in the process. Correct, Sandi? And really pricing that home correct.
Pricing that home correct is that's even in a seller's market, you've got to nail that pricing. It's we are a very passive negotiating culture here, and you've got to nail it and try to get, parades don't go backwards. And when you have that first week on the market, you're going to get your best activity, most excitement, and you want to do everything you can to capitalize that.
Yes. Yeah, makes sense. Well, Sandi, thank you so much for coming back in studio. It's always a pleasure to have you and see your smiley face.
Thanks.
Coming up next on the Money Hour, choose your retirement plan. Tony Sablan with New York Life Wealth Management right here at 1150 AM KKNW.
The following material is presented for informational and sales purposes only and represents our understanding of generally applicable rules. It is not intended and does not set forth solutions to individual situations. New York Life Insurance Company, its agents, or employees may not give legal, tax, or accounting advice, and none is intended nor should be inferred from the information herein. Clients should consult their own professional advisors prior to implementing any planning strategies. This material includes a discussion of one or more tax-related topics prepared to assist in the promotion or marketing of the transactions or matters addressed. It is not intended and cannot be used by any taxpayer for the purpose of avoiding any IRS penalties that may be imposed upon the taxpayer.
Are you near retirement? Recently transferred to a new job and wondering what to do with your old 401k? Are you interested in learning about how to create a defensive and offensive strategy for your financial plan? Tony Sablan of Eagle Strategies can help you analyze your current financial plan, life insurance, and investments. Tony Sablan has helped hundreds of individuals, families, and business owners bring clarity to their financial plan.
This is Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies. To learn more about my practice, call me at 425-586-0977 or reach me online at ultimatewealthstrategies.com. To receive a free consultation, call me at 425-586-0977 or reach me online at tonysablan at eaglestrategies.com. Again, that's 425-586-0977 or reach me online at tonysablan@eaglestrategies.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell.
And co-host Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 6th show. We are here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, we have Tony Sablan with New York Life Wealth Management, and we're talking about choosing your retirement plan. Tony, thank you so much for coming back in studio.
Thank you for having me again.
Hasn't been too long. I mean, we get to see you a few times a year. It's really nice to have you come in and give all your financial advice. And a little bit about Tony. Tony is an advisor with New York Life. He is also the founder of Ultimate Wealth Strategies based in Bellevue, Washington, focusing on life insurance, investment, retirement, and estate planning for you, your family, a small business, to identify your life goals and motivations. Tony has a vast team of specialists that will help you meet your goals. Not only does he enjoy helping people with their financial goals and dreams, he's also passionate about the community through his involvement with a variety of nonprofits. One of the very unique things about Tony is that he's a mixed martial arts coach at AMC Pancration in Kirkland and training alongside current UFC champions, ONE FC champions, and other world-class fighters.
Awesome. Well, Tony, I'm pretty excited to have you here. Fun fact about myself, I was actually started my finance career at New York Life as a registered rep. So I got a lot of love for New York Life, and we're really glad to have you, my friend. So let's just, out of the gate, what do you mean by choosing your retirement path? You said in your title, choosing your retirement path. What do you mean by that, Tony?
So, retirement is different these days. People are living longer. Taxes may or may not increase. And people aren't saving enough. They don't take the time to plan. Pensions are almost extinct. And there's a host of other factors that affect why retirement is different. So we live in a I want it now world until later comes. And then you realize that you should have done this or that. So as you continue to navigate the retirement road, you have to ask yourself, where do you see yourself? Are you on the right path? Or have you encountered several challenges which have led you down a different path and ultimately challenging your desired goals?
And Tony, what do you see are the retirement challenges today?
The 5 retirement challenges that I'd like to share today are cost of living increases, outliving your retirement savings, taxes, expenses, and expectation versus reality.
So Tony, you're talking about the cost of living. Doesn't that relate to inflation? Could you elaborate a little bit on that for us?
Yeah, so that's challenge number 1. And, inflation along with market risks can affect your retirement savings. And to be sure you're ready, you'll want to know the answers to certain questions, beginning with, what has inflation done to the cost of living? And according to inflationdata.com, since 2008, interest rates have been relatively low and stable, averaging 1.64% in 2010, 2.07% in 2012, and 1.62% in 2014. However, the rate may not stay so low, and it is important to be prepared. And here's an example of how inflation can affect the cost of living and purchasing power of your savings. It can be dramatic, and at a 3.24% inflation rate, an individual still working with $500,000 in retirement savings will need to increase that total to the following amounts just to keep pace with inflation: $688,000 in 10 years, $807,000 in 15 years, and $946,000 in 20 years. And also, you have to keep in mind that retirement can take you well into 20 plus years over you've decided to retire. So you need to have your money last. Yeah. Possibly longer than that.
Yeah, Tina, a lot of people, and Tony knows this, they don't really think about that hidden cost, right? That's just automatically, inflation's happening all the time.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. The cards are stacked against you, and you got to start doing something now about it. I mean, if you don't plan for yourself or do something, then, and actually get an idea, talk to somebody like Tony and figure out what does this actually mean for you? Because a lot of times we just kind of bury our heads in the sand and, and hope that it turns out. But, I mean, when I was in the same position as Tony, it's not good news when you sit down with somebody 60 years old with $100,000 in a 401k and they're like, "Am I good to go, Tony?" And you're like, "Yeah." Not so much, and it's too little too late. And for, the younger generation especially, with Social Security supposed to run out, I don't think it will. I think it's really important you literally go out, talk to Tony, and figure out what the heck is going on, what's our plan, and how we're going to get there.
Yeah, get that retirement plan going, definitely. So, Tony, you had mentioned about market risk. What are some of the other risk investors should be considering? So
it's important to consider when you retire and what the market is looking like when you do retire. In a worst-case scenario such as that faced by retirees in late 2008 or early 2009, the market could decline right when you'll need to begin withdrawing your funds from your savings. And in this scenario, an investor beginning retirement with $500,000, the bottom line sees significant market losses throughout your portfolio, even as the market increases. Your assets could very well be depleted in 18 years. And these days, 18 years after retirement age of 60 or 65, you're still young. You're still humming along.
So you've got to really be able to strategize and plan what's going to be happening in the market at the time that you're retiring, or make sure that you've got some protections there for those drops.
Exactly. And, I always like to say people don't retire on averages and piles of money listed on your charts or dashboards. They retire on absolute dollars coming into your pockets to cover your living expenses, your lifestyle, and whatnot.
Tony, something that came up from my past as well as taxes. And, people don't realize that we're historically low tax bracket. So, it might not make sense to withdraw in a low tax bracket or defer in a low tax bracket and withdraw in a higher tax bracket, possibly with 401ks and things like that weren't even meant for retirement. It's just an easy way for people to put money in, and it doesn't hurt because it comes out of a paycheck. So tell us a little bit about how taxes can affect your retirement dollars.
So, I like to say Uncle Sam always gets his cut.
Yeah, he does.
And,
yes, he
death
sure
and taxes,
does.
right?
You can save money into a 401k pre-tax. And effectively what you're doing is, getting taxed on the harvest instead of the seed. So rollovers, long-term capital gains, and RMDs, or required minimum distributions, will affect how your money is taxed and depending on which vehicles you have your money in. And it's also important to consider how that would affect your nest egg. How much are you pulling out from each different vehicle, where you're saving money, and ensuring that the right buckets of money are being used. So, whether you're putting it in a 401k or a Roth, work with a professional to design a strategy on distribution.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you don't retire on the pile of money. You retire on what you're able to take out and what you keep.
Yeah. So it just like everything else, the strategy is so important to make sure that that you're looking what's available now, as well as how that's going to affect you when you need that money. So let's talk about the expenses and how expenses come into your retirement plan, Tony.
Many retirees are uncertain of savings withdrawal rates from retirement funds such as 401ks, IRAs, and even CDs. And some might withdraw too much too soon and risk depleting their savings before they die. Conversely, some might withdraw too little, possibly limiting their ability to enjoy the money they've saved and worked hard for. And married couples have another concern. Among couples who both live to be 65, one of the spouses has more than a 70% chance of living for at least another 20 years. So when one spouse dies, will the surviving spouse have enough retirement income to maintain his or her lifestyle? And this can be a particular concern of the spouse who was the major breadwinner and perhaps was receiving a pension is the first one to die. And then there's uncertainty of healthcare costs. Will the high costs erode your savings? Have you saved enough? And no one has the answer. And, there's just a lot of uncertainty that you have to just plan for the best and expect, a worst case scenario so that you're not left surprised.
Well said. Well said, Tony. So we're talking about building wealth, and I know there's a whole lot to think about. What about our heirs? What about those that we leave and that type of thing? Is there anything left for them? What do we do to plan for that?
So after meeting all the other needs we mentioned so far, many people hope to provide a legacy for their family or a charitable institution or a worthy cause. And one of the things they ask themselves is, will there be enough in their retirement savings to make this possible? Assuming cash is available for this purpose, the question becomes how to make it happen. And there are some very simple tools to help you fulfill your legacy and give you permission to spend all the money you've saved up for. And talking about life insurance here.
Yeah, and again, just really sitting down with a great advisor and going through the different strategies that you have, because there are so many expensive mistakes that can be made during this process, and not just for you, but getting in and talking with your about your heirs as well, and making sure that you have things set up to where you're protecting your assets the best way and how the tax implementation is going to be there. So, Tony, what else advice do you have for our listeners in planning for retirement? We've covered a lot of things today.
So earlier I mentioned expectation versus reality. It's important to ask yourself, how much money will it take to pay for the basics and some little extras? And in the past, most believed that their retirement expenses would be significantly lower than those prior to retirement because of the elimination of certain expenses. For example, commuting costs, business wardrobes, lunch expenses, the mortgage. But the conventional wisdom no longer holds up because expenses in retirement could remain the same or could be higher. And these days, especially in the real estate, people are carrying mortgages longer than the 30 years because you're constantly refinancing. So you still have a mortgage. You might have a vacation home that has a mortgage. And then naturally that increases your expenses, right?
Tony, I've been out of the game for a while. I got to ask you, is the withdrawal rate still safe at 4%? Or?
So many individuals still working express a desire to enjoy the same lifestyle in retirement, and they often underestimate the amount of income they will need to achieve that goal. In fact, while spending does decline for the majority of retirees, the Employee Research Benefit Institute found that retirees actually experience an increase in spending. And think about it for a second. Do you spend more during the weekend or during the week?
Good point.
Weekend.
The weekend. So if you just have 7 days that are weekends, that could get expensive.
Right. So imagine that for 30 years.
Yeah.
Retirement is a long, very long weekend.
Yes.
Or vacation.
Well, hopefully. And hopefully we've got the money to make it through it. So, Tony, the retirement planning can be daunting for a lot of people. And when it's daunting, then people procrastinate. They don't get things done. And that becomes a huge compound challenge. So what would be your advice to somebody that just is in that space right now?
Say begin your planning today. There's no better time to plant a tree than today to watch it grow. Mm-hmm. Because when you think about it, and you see this all over Facebook, it's people spend so much time planning for the Seahawks game, planning for vacations, but really it only takes an hour of your time.
Or the Beyonce and the Jay-Z concert.
Beyonce and Jay-Z, right? It only takes an hour of your time to just take a pause and think about where you want to go and what you're doing today that's leading to where you want to go. And I'll leave you with 5 key points. Optimize your portfolio, minimize income taxes, plan for extended periods of care not covered by medical insurance, and consider guaranteed income for life. It'll give you a lot of peace of mind. And consider other sources of retirement income that you may not have heard of or are not popular with the public, but are used widely.
And so it's not that daunting. There's 5 things to take a look at. Just work with an advisor that's going to be able to strategize and put those together in the best plan. So, Tony, thank you so much for coming back in studio and sharing your knowledge with our listeners. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And coming up next in the Money Hour, winning in a shifting market, Britt Wibner with Britt Wibner Real Estate Group right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Are you near retirement? Recently transferred to a new job and wondering what to do with your old 401k? Are you interested in learning about how to create a defensive and offensive strategy for your financial plan? Tony Sablan of Eagle Strategies can help you analyze your current financial plan, life insurance, and investments. Tony Sablan has helped hundreds of individuals, families, and business owners bring clarity to their financial plan.
This is Tony Sablan with Eagle Strategies. To learn more about my practice, call me at 425-586-0977 or reach me online at ultimatewealthstrategies.com. To receive a free consultation, call me at 425-586-0977 or reach me online at tonysablan at eaglestrategies.com. Again, that's 425-586-0977 or reach me online at tonysablan at eaglestrategies.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell.
And co-host Keelan Harvey.
Your local mortgage experts right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, October 6th show. We bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything money. We're here to help you in today's economy. If you're hearing our show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but we're here to answer your questions, connect you with the guests that we have on the show today. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. In studio right now, Britt Wibner with Britt Wibner Real Estate Group, winning in a shifting market. Britt, good to have you back in studio. We have all these regular people in studio today.
Thanks for having me back. It's a lot of fun to be here.
I love it. A little bit about Britt. Britt is the principal broker and of Britt Wibner Real Estate Group with Real Logic's Sotheby's International Realty. A little bit of a tongue twister there for me. Equipped with 15 back-to-back years as a top producer broker, Britt capitalizes on her experience with her Rolodex and her strong negotiation skills to help clients achieve their real estate objectives. Focused on West Bellevue and greater Seattle area, Britt provides a luxury real estate experience at all price points. She also provides complimentary staging, professional organizational help, and home prep project management that helps her clients get their home ready seamlessly and easily. Britt's passion is maximizing her clients' real estate investments and making each and every real estate journey a positive one.
Well, Britt, you're a rock star, so I would love to get your
Just
opinion.
have to chuckle about that.
Sandy, you're a rock star too, don't?
Yeah.
We're
all rock stars in this room.
Tony, so are you.
Yeah, and Tony too.
Everyone in the room.
Since we're full of rock stars in here, tell us about the shifting market. What do you mean by shifting?
Well, I love the fact that Sandy's here too in studio and was able to address it as well. So what we're seeing, and I concur completely with Sandy, is that we have seen a huge amount of new inventory come into the market. In some places, it's 400% more than what we saw just back in November. So, it's a combination of this rapid increase in inventory, and then the sales are slowing.
Yes.
And we are just coming off of summer. I'm really, really excited to see those September statistics. I too, from what I'll be talking about today,
they both hit you right before you're going to the show.
I'm also going to be speaking to the August numbers. So I'm so glad that Sandy didn't somehow get the numbers earlier.
That worked out perfectly.
It worked great. But I think we're all really looking forward to seeing what's happening now that school's back in session. But nonetheless, what we're seeing is that the increased inventory, the slower rate of sales is affecting the price points. And we are seeing these price reductions, which we haven't seen in a lot of years. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a shifting market.
So, it's just crazy doing the show. I mean, we talk about, real estate every week, and I literally go from one show to the next show, and things, just have that dramatic change, going from waiving all of your contingencies, having $50,000 earnest money on the line that you could not get back if you walk for any single reason, then agreeing to pay more than the appraised value came back with. That was the market we came out of. Now into a market that, $10,000 seller credits, you're going in being able to go contingent on your home not selling. You've got your inspection contingency, wait time. So with this extreme difference, do you feel that we've reached the top of the price market, Britt, or what does your crystal ball say there?
I don't think you have to have a crystal ball to be able to see the reality. And we can look in the rearview mirror and see that we've hit the peak for this cycle. I mean, we can talk 10 years from now. Yes, we're not at the peak anymore.
Of course.
But at this point, we've seen the peak. It happened sometime between, I'd say, December and April. And yeah, no, it's not doomsday.
Yes.
It is not, circa 2010 when everything was crashing or had crashed. So it is definitely, we've hit that top, and we're going to see some, I think we're seeing reductions already, but I think it's going to be stabilized at about, you ratchet back 1 year of appreciation.
Okay, so not bad. I mean, you take us back 12 months. I mean, yeah.
I saw a recent
It's just the idea of losing anything, people, that has a really bad perspective on it.
Well, people try to realize their appreciation and try to realize the price that they're seeing on Zillow or Redfin, and try to believe that that's the price that their house is worth. But if you don't sell your house at that time, it's a non-realized gain. So you just have to pull up your big can pants and realize, hey, that was then.
Pull up your britches and take it. It is what it is, right? So what if I want to move? What does this shift mean for me? Let's say I want to make a big move.
Houses are still selling. It's just, you have to, and I love it because I've, of course, talked to a lot of other realtors, and I just love gaining information from all around me. And one woman said it the best. She said, you either have to have the perfect house or it has to be a great deal. Buyers have so much selection right now. So when you say you have a price point, let's just use $1 million, for instance, they're looking at all the different homes that are available at $1 million. Well, so now you have to be the best prepared, the best priced, and the best neighborhood, and it's got to have a perceived value to the buyer for you to be able to get an offer. So what I'm recommending is looking at the competition, and then in your range, and Sandi spoke to this a bit, is pick that. You got to be on the lower side of that range. Because one stat also, and I'm such a stats and graphs and charts girl. So last month, from July to August, there was a price drop of 5.5%, but over the course of the last year, we're still up 102%. I mean, we're up 2%.
Okay.
So if you were just ratchet back to what you would have been 1 year from now, and price it in that way, you're going to get an offer.
Yeah. So with the, we had the crash, and if you look back at the why behind the crash, again, was the money shortage and all the craziness that was happening in, our industry, Keelan and I. When a client says, hey, are we hitting another crash? What's your reply back to that?
It's an absolute no.
Yes.
Hard stop. When there are sellers that want to sell, buyers that want to buy, and there's the money available, then it's not going to crash. And also with loans being given to even turkeys and really non-people. That's really what bolstered the market, and it ultimately led to the demise of so many loans. So, no, I think with the economics of our area, with the readily expanding job growth, all the financial indicators are very strong. It's just we're going to see an adjustment because the comps that sellers are looking at are comps that were built over time, month over month, when appreciation was gaining so rapidly. So those established comps that were from 6 months ago, those are bolstered because there was such competition out there.
Yes.
And now without the competition, it's not going to be bolstered price. Yeah.
I can imagine, like, there's got to be a group of people that have the old FOMO, the fear of missing out, and they're like, I got to list my house now, like, because, it's like they feel like they missed the boat. There's got to be that little push. So if I wanted to list my house, like, what's the winning formula at this point so I can get the most out of it? I mean, what do you do in this market?
Oh, I love working with people with FOMO. That's because they're motivated then. So I think a great way to look at it is, we know what the market is today. We don't know what it's going to be like in 6 months, and we don't know what it's going to be like in a year.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at the market conditions now and looking at the competition, how many other properties that are similar, and then also really keeping in mind the fact that, from July to August, prices went down 5.5%. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go from there. So if you're really wanting to sell your home and sell it for the best price and not have it linger, I would highly recommend just going back a year or, within a range, but then and price it accordingly. And 100%, just like Sandi said, preparation is key right now. You really do have to have a home that is move-in ready, because there are options out there that are for people that are for move-in ready homes. And, people are busy, and I would say, sorry, millennials, people are not as thrilled about a fixer project as they used to be. So I'd say the prep of getting your home perfect for market, plus the price, and of course, hiring a very aggressive and professional real estate agent will help you get your house sold.
Yes. Great advice, Britt. So talking about prepping your home, there are people still have they've got a lot of equity in their home. Equity line of credits are easy to be able to qualify for those. So if somebody is thinking of remodeling their home, either because they want to stay in it or they're looking at doing some upgrades on their home to prepare it for possibly selling in the future, what would be your advice there in types of upgrades that sellers should be doing?
I think kitchens and bathrooms, those are key, especially master bathrooms.
Okay.
I have seen houses just get passed over because the master bathroom wasn't up to par. I mean, really, people are looking at in-city locations and looking at older homes, and then also at the same tour, going out a little bit further and looking at new construction. So they have an idea that they like to have something move-in ready, and a beautiful master bathroom's ideal. But, you guys, you don't have to spend that much money. If you work with someone, such as myself, gosh, I hate to keep
plugging it away, Britt. You're awesome.
Plugging. But, you can do things as easy as just replacing the countertop, brand new undermount sink, new hardware, of course, paint, and then you have a refreshed bathroom, and you don't have to be tearing out subfloor to give a master bathroom a great new look.
The good old curb appeal,
Yeah.
We're human beings. It's what looks good, smells
Well, it's kind of
good.
like for the girls, we don't want to go on without our makeup on. I mean, so it's kind of think about that. That's kind of scary. You don't want your house to look like that.
I'm just going to
I don't even know what that means, but that's just as funny.
It's a trap. It's a trap, Tony. Don't say anything. It's a trap.
Tony's so quiet over there.
So let's talk about the opposite side of that coin. So what advice would you give people that want to downsize?
Oh, well, downsizers are, if you're trying to downsize, it seems like, I think as the older I get, the older my friends get, and, our kids are getting closer and closer to getting out of high school, say, and that's this classic time to downsize, to you don't have to be right by the school that your kid is going to. And so if you're planning on downsizing, I'd say it's time to start prepping to get your house ready for sale. And you could sell now and rent for a little bit. I have some clients are thinking about renting in the interim to see kind of what the market does. And if you have the opportunity to do that, you might try.
Yeah. So, getting ready to list your home, let's say in the spring, what type of prepping can you do up front to be ready to go?
Well, oh gosh, well, there's so much that can be done, but if I could kind of reverse that question, because it would be, do you list now or do you list in the spring?
Okay,
and then also, as Sandy said, her favorite time to list is January. So it could be any of those months, but the time to start, for sure, it's getting your home organized, start taking things out, what you're not going to need. The decluttering process can happen over a very long period of time. One of the things that I offer my clients is complimentary organizational services. So if you list with me, I hire a personal organizer and they can come and help you pack up.
Nice.
So getting decluttered, getting packed, but then also things like painting. The winter months are a great time to start with your landscape because things then grow and then you'll be ready for spring. So lots of different home prep things, but I'd say mostly if you're wait until spring, start getting very organized.
Yeah, great advice. Well, Britt, thank you so much for coming back in and joining Keelan and I, and it's great to hear the updates and what's happened with the real estate market.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
And that's our show. This is Tina Mitchell signing off for the day.
And your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
Your mortgage experts. We'll be here same time, same place, right here at 11:50 a.m. KKNW. Next weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, and Keelan Harvey, MLO 1330075, are licensed loan originators with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, and MLS 7233. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.